that we have it. All right, so it says a student service club is raising money through a loose change competition among the grades. Jenna brings 20 coins, all of which are nickels and dimes that have a total value of $1.30 to put in her bank. All right, so we have to let something be D. So we're going to let dimes be D. And then we have to multiply that times the value of a dime, which is 10 cents. Okay? And then we're going to let nickels be 20 minus D, because however many dimes, if we subtract it from the total 20 coins, that gives us nickels. And then we have to multiply that times the value. So that's how they ended up with this equation. So I just wanted you to know. And then we knew that it's $1.30. So as you can see, they've already multiplied by 10 to get rid of all of our decimals. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is distribute. So 5 times 20 is 100. 5 times D is 5D. All right. Now, hopefully you can see that before we start moving things across the equal mark, I need to combine things on the same side of the equal mark. So this is, remember, add the opposite. So this is a -5 and a +10. So I would subtract them, and I would end up with 5D, and I'm going to bring down the 100. So now we're just back to what we've been doing. Okay? So hopefully you can see this is going to give me one solution because there's nothing else for my D to combine with. So we're going to subtract 100. So that goes away. So it leaves me with 5D equals 30. And then divide by 5. So D is 6. So we have 6 dimes. And if we wanted to know nickels, even though it didn't ask me, we would do 20 minus 6, which is 14 nickels. So that is how you would solve that problem. All right, and then the turn and talk says which variable or expression represents the number of dimes and which variable or expression represents the number of nickels. Well, we already determined that. So D equals dimes and 20 minus D equals nickels. Oh, I didn't spell that right. And I see, forgot a K. Nickels. Any questions on that page? All right, didn't see any questions, so let's move on. So it says Grant needs to construct a rectangular garden with 55 feet of fencing around the perimeter. He draws a diagram to determine the length and width of the garden. What is the side length that Grant should choose for the garden? How much fencing is needed for half of the garden? One length and one width. So if it's 55 feet, we want half. So half is what? 27.5. That's what half is. Sorry, I'm trying to do attendance real quick. I do see Aiden, I see Xander, I see Madison, I see Reagan, Junior, and I see Miley. Alright, so it says if the full length of the garden is represented by L, so that means this right here is L, how can you represent the width of the garden? Okay, so basically that would be just the half, right? So 27.5 minus L. So if this is L and half of it is 27.5, then we're going to subtract the length from that to figure it out. So that's what goes here. All right, so now we're going to include the entire garden. But remember, since it's perimeter, we have 2 of each thing. So 2 times L plus 2 times 27.5 minus L. And that equals 55. All right, so it says, what is the first step in solving the equation? Well, the first step is to distribute the 2. Okay, and the y is so we can combine the variable term. So I still got to do the 2 times L so I can combine the 2L and the 2L. Okay, so hopefully you notice that when I multiply this out, right, 2 times that's going to give me 55, and 2 times that gives me a negative 2L. So hopefully you can see if I combine things on the side first, the 2L and the negative 2L cancel. So it leaves me with 55 equals 55. And we learned that yesterday. It is infinitely many. So it says, what does the result mean about the length of the garden? So any number we substitute into the equation will work. All right, any questions on that? No? I don't hear anything. All right, moving on. So it says Pam and Rochelle buy books at the bookstore where Rochelle works. Each uses a coupon. As an employee, Rachel pays only 75% of the advertised price after her coupon is applied. How many books can each purchase and spend the same amount for the same number of books? All right, so complete the equation. Rochelle and Pam buying X books and each paying the same amount. So Pam says she bought books for $4 each and used a $5 coupon. Okay, and Rochelle's the one that gets 75% off. So Pam would be 4x minus 5, $4 each, minus her coupon. Rochelle pays $8 each and gets to use a coupon and gets 75% off. So 8x minus 4. What did you say, Micah? I still can't. All I heard was I got something.
At that point, it's just free. It's discount.
Basically, you would think, right? All right, so we can tell that it's not going to be infinitely many, and it's not going to be no solution because they're telling me x equals something. All right, so we're going to distribute. So the first thing we need to do is distribute. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it here. So 4x minus 5 equals 75% of 8 is 6, and 75% of 4 is 3. All right, so we got to move things across. So I'm going to bring my 4 over here. So when I do that, I subtract. So that goes away. So 6 minus 4 is 2x. And since I brought the 4 over here, I'm going to bring the 3 over here. So if it's minus 3, I add 3. So that cancels. And I end up with 2x equals negative 2. So if I divide by 2, I get x equals negative 1. So the question says, is it possible for Pam and Rochelle to purchase X books and pay the same amount? So of course, that answer would be no, because we can't have a negative 1, right? I can't buy negative 1 books. So the solution is negative. Once again, cannot purchase negative books. So what does the solution to the equation represent about this situation? Not possible for them to purchase the same amount of books. So then the turn and talk says, how can the solution be different if Rochelle did not have a coupon? Well, so the only thing we're taking off is that negative 4. So instead of, so we would still have 4x minus 5 equals 6x. I would still subtract the 4x. So I would still have negative 5 equals 2x. So the only thing that changes is now I have a larger negative number, right? So now x is negative 2.5. So that's the only thing that changes. Still no solution. All right, so we are at the check understanding. So I want you guys to work on that for a few minutes, and then we will come back and check it. All right, so I'll give you about, I don't know, about 5 minutes, and then we'll check it. So what would the first one be? What happens? Positive x, negative x. So what do we call this? Yep, infinitely many. All right, what about number 2? 2 bicyclists on a 75-mile trail rode toward each other. So we basically would just set them equal to each other. So 45 plus 10x equals 75 minus 10x. So hopefully you notice when I bring them across the mark, I can add them together. So I would bring this over here so I can get rid of that negative. So that gives me 45 equals 20x. No. 45 plus 20x equals 75. And then you're going to subtract 45. So I get 20x equals 30. Divide by 20. So x should be 1.5 hours. So then it says, how far are the bicyclists away from the parking lot? Well, if x is 1.5 hours, substitute it into one of the equations, and you should so that would be 15. So 45 plus 15 would be 60 miles. All right, so you guys have about 20 minutes if you would like to get started on the On Your Own. I will tell you that it is 3 pages. So some of you may want to use your time wisely today and get started. But if not, you are free to go, and then you will work on it tomorrow. But either way, I will be here until 4:15.
Bye, Mr. Mo.
All right.